My kids just reviewed it. Good evening, I am Jennifer Willard, Superintendent of Schools. I'm calling the meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. The meeting of the South McTally Granville Regional School Committee is being recorded. We are currently taking attendance. And can we all please rise to the allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will begin tonight's meeting with the election of school committee officers. At this time, I open the floor for nomination for school committee chairperson for the term commencing immediately June 4th, 2024.
I'd like to nominate Robert Stevenson.
I'll second that, yeah.
If there are no further nominations, I will call the vote. All those in favor of nominee Robert Stevenson as chairperson of the South McTally Granville Regional School Committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
7?
Six.
0. All opposed? Abstained? So 6-0-0. Robert Stevenson is the chairperson of the school committee, and I turn the remaining nominations over to the chair.
Thank you, everyone. At this point, we need to appoint a vice chairman for the subsequent year. I will open up the motions for vice chairman.
I nominate Tom. Yeah.
I'll second that nomination. Anybody else want to throw their hat in the ring? Mr. Fox? No.
That too.
All right, can I get a show of hands to approve the nomination? Show my hand. All right, Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0-0. And now we need to appoint a secretary for the upcoming year. I will entertain motion for secretary.
I nominate Ryan.
Second, there we go. Second. Anybody else, any other nominations for secretary? Can I get a show of hands to approve the nomination? Aaron, let the record show that motion passes 6-0-0. We've got our consent agenda that has the minutes from 3/26. Fundraiser, we've got the 2027 total slumps, homecoming dance, home education proposals. This is the speak now verbal hold the peace section. All right, we'll move on. We've got some warrants that everybody I think has already signed. If not, please do that before the end of the evening. Superintendent Willard, do you have any correspondence this evening?
I do not.
All right, fantastic. All right, most exciting part of the meeting, Magnolia, it's your show now.
I'm so excited. I'm the only one here. So Lucas is enjoying Florida. We had an awards ceremony on May 30th and went really well. Everyone enjoyed it. Graduation went honestly surprisingly quickly on June 1st, and we luckily had some really nice weather. Freshmen who took physics second semester had their first round of MCAS today, and then their last one's tomorrow. The rest of us have an extended first period. The senior prank was honestly really good. I mean, some may disagree, but I thought it was great.
Was this the GOAT?
Yeah, I love the go. I'm so mad I was at set. I want to see the go. Anyways, yeah, they brought a go. Because the class of 2024 is the go, greatest of all time. I don't know if we're gonna be able to top that, but class elections also went smoothly yesterday. We had paper ballots this year instead of online. So they asked for some of the high schoolers, including myself, to help out. So we monitored the entrance, signed in voters, collected the ballots, and supervised voting tables. On Tuesday, June 11th, Northeastern University Center for the Study of Sports and Society will be bringing their program addressing hate in schools to our 7th and 8th graders. Students from the Anti-Bullying Task Force and Connections will be present and helping out during assemblies and then present at lunch to monitor and converse with students to get feedback. This will not only be a good start for the Anti-Bullying Task Force, especially for the students kind of acclimate and like have some presence with people, but also for Connections to do that. I know we're trying to work more on like getting into middle school lunches to kind of talk to them, to be able to start. Fall sports are now having meetings soon for their upcoming seasons. And then, okay, this technically wasn't put by Ms. Shorter, but it's already up, so, the National Honor Society has a new Instagram, which hopefully will be approved.
We should talk before you talk anything about it.
Okay.
There's some things already in place about individual
Okay.
social
Okay.
media.
I didn't have much about sports. I know track, they had 2 members go to the meet of all champions, but five. Awesome. All right, good for them. And then I know baseball made it to the round of like 32 in, I think, West, I don't know. They did really good this season. Sadly they got out, but they did pretty good. Everyone else did good. I know the new lacrosse team also did well. We're very happy about that. So, good for that.
Well, thank you very much. So we're looking forward to your vetting schedule to get us a junior member for the school committee next year. Very good.
Fun things that will live at Powdermill, since we're talking about.
Yeah.
Things. Reminder for Woodland parents that we have field day tomorrow at Woodland. Hey, I'm volunteering. I will be there. Come see. I like the bounce. We have field day anyway tomorrow at Woodlands. Remember our sunscreen. Powdermill Spring Concert starts at 10 on Thursday. I think it's the 5th and 6th graders start at 10 and the 3rd and 4th at 10:45. Look at that, I got it. And then the band concert is at 6 p.m. in the courtyard at the next. Otherwise, it's 7. The 2nd graders are going up to here at Powdermill on Friday, and the 6th graders are going up to the high school on Friday to visit. I have to visit. Remember that? What Powdermill's field day is on the 11th, next Thursday. There's also PTO picnic, next Tuesday. The PTO picnic's on the 13th on Thursday. And preschool celebration is on the 14th. For morning and afternoon, check those times, I don't know what day. The morning is 9:15, but that's right. So look at all the fun things we do with the little kids.
There you go.
And it's very busy week, so here.
Okay. They'll be ready. All right. So, student advisory report is on educational presentation. Mr. Pescatelli, my understanding is you may have an introduction to make for us this evening.
Yes, I do.
Why don't you come on up?
Thank you, Chairman. So good evening, everyone. So just wanted to take the opportunity, I really wanted to express my appreciation, to be able to introduce Ms. Kayla Brady, tonight to school committee. And, you know, after conducting, a very thorough search interview process, was including several rounds of interviews. I'm very happy to, you know, be able to be here this evening. I'm very pleased to welcome Kayla, as part of the STGRSD community, as our assistant principal at Woodland School. Ms. Brady will be joining our team at Woodland School, with an effective start date of July 1st, 2024. Most recently, where she's at right now, she's in Pittsfield at Conte Community School, right now as an acting interim principal. Prior to that, she was for several years of the AP of Teaching and Learning. She has a wealth of educational leadership, and I know that she will be an added asset to this entire team, but specifically, of course, Woodland. We're very pumped and excited around her positivity, her enthusiasm, and just her overall commitment to children. And we're looking forward to be able to work together around creating a safe, supportive, and inclusive and learning environment for all of our young learners at Woodland. Really pumped around having her as part of this team. And I can tell you already, being able to introduce her today at Woodland School, she's already fitting right in. So really excited to having her. And I wanted to personally thank Ryan Karabkov for as a school committee representative as part of the interview committee. Her input and feedback was, you know, the utmost valuable. parts along with everyone else that participated as part of the review committee. So thank you very much and appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to
You
speak,
can
but
say
thank you
whatever.
so much. Thank you for having me, and I made lots of connections already at Woodland School earlier today, and I look forward to working with you all more closely in the future.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Right. Now the fun stuff. Mr. Pescatelli,
Yeah,
you coming up first with the handbook revisions?
yes, I am.
All right.
All right. So I think, as many years past, as we've done this each year, many of the changes are pretty much just changing edits of, you know, particular staff member changing out or a school committee member changing out, our district calendar, you know, changing out from year to year. Right from the first page, try to keep this brief because we do have several that we're going through tonight. That first page, we're moving away, and we have moved away from Woodland Way. And we're including Woodland Cares as part of the cover page. And we'll highlight, what CARES stands for right from the get-go. It is highlighted, you know, right within the first several pages of the handbook. Where it indicates what Woodland Cares stands for, but we'll have that on the cover page. Just some additional changes and adding really to our attendance information. We identified that we'll add in on page 7. I did not give you the full document. I'm sharing with you that the attendance information under that part, we're just adding the documented illness and or hospitalization. It didn't explicitly state it in that way, as you know, being able to have as an excused absence in the attendance information section. So that's a change. The biggest changes would be having to do with the language around, and this is referenced under page 11 in the memo that was sent, where we're removing all of the discipline language from the current handbook. It was, there's some updated language in there. It needed to get, for sure, as an entire team across the district, including the superintendent, we felt like it needed to be updated. So we met, I would acknowledge that it wouldn't be appropriate for me not to acknowledge Mr. Rue and the amount of work that he himself put in along with Ms. Carrier. I just kind of came in on the backside a little bit of working with them and trying to collaborate on the end part of it. But they did a really significant amount of work. So we're going to see is that I'm introducing the part of it, but they will not have, they can highlight it, of course, it's up to them, but it's going to be the same language that we're using throughout. That was some feedback that, of course, we received over through the year. And it's something that I think it was time to make that change. I brought that to not only our staff at Woodland, that their feedback, but also with our school council, so the families and getting their feedback around it. And they were appreciative of it, they understood it, and it seems longer. There's a lot of the law kind of very formal language that's in there, but I think it's important for families to see it right in there and be transparent. And that was something that we felt was very important to be able to share and have within the handbook. So it was clear for families, right? And of course, for older kids that are of reading age, they're going through and they can review that as well. I think we all felt like that was important. There was a change. This is something on page 14 around removing the current language from the kindergarten age of when they can be, admitted into kindergarten. That was modified. That was actually approved last year. It didn't get updated within the current handbook, so it's going to be updated here. We have been following that practice anyway, but I just wanted it updated in the handbook. So just to be able to share that piece with you. Also, this is across the board at all 3 schools across the district. This is something I remember I would deal with from time to time when I was in the assistant principal seat. But it was the overall idea of image alteration. This is page 14 as highlighted. And really what it speaks to is in the world that we are, the level of technology and how intelligent our young people are around the use of these different apps. Like as I speak right now, there's a new app that's coming out like right now, most likely that we're not even aware of, but it's it's staying up and up to date and having that reflect in our handbook. Because that is something that ends up happening. Not every day, but it ends up happening where students end up taking images and really putting captions, different comments for potentially staff or other students, and it's not appropriate. And we want to be able to highlight and ensure families understand that part. So we included that also. If that's happening necessarily at a pre-K to 2 school, but we have it in there to be consistent, right? And really the rest of that, minus the report cards that change. The rest of the items are just some minor edits that we found. But on page 18, we'll add this in the handbook. The report cards that we will go through at Woodland, we will go from quarters, so 4 terms, to 3 trimesters or trimesters of 3 terms. Let's call it that instead of quarters. And we brought that. And was able to present that to ILT, our construction leadership team. And it is something that across the board, our staff felt at Woodland very strongly being able to communicate. This is our parents and school council, they understood it, they were on board. So we felt like it would be the best interest of kids and being able to really gauge their overall learning within the course of the year, but specifically it goes back to having larger chunks of time to be able to assess children in an appropriate way. So across the board, staff felt like that would be an appropriate move, and that's why we moved so swiftly this year, so we can have it ready for next year. We're also in the working stages of revising our reports. So we'll be doing that as well. Continuing that. All right. Are there any questions? No, we're good. All right, so we're good. All right, awesome. Thank you.
Have a great summer.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your hard work this year, Mike. Great job.
you.
All right. Mr. Rude, you're jumping up. Looks like you're ready to go.
And
Is this Anna Rude?
I know.
Yeah. I think in one of the books I am, I think just the Woodland one.
You said Woodland.
Just the Woodland. Yeah, they keep me. Actually, yeah, that's good. So as Mike said, most of our changes are very similar. The first page, it's all the procedural things with dates. We did add something with cell phone use because, as you know, kids are getting phones younger and younger. We haven't had
too much of a problem with cell phones. Most of our kids are really good. We have an off and away policy, so most of our kids keep them in their lockers, but we have had a rise in students taking them to the bathroom or texting out in the hallways. So in order to just alleviate any kind of stressors, we're just gonna have them put them in a caddy. And I think that some people at the high school do the same, but we'll start that, I think grade 5, we're gonna start it. Grade 5, yeah. So we're providing the teachers with caddies and the kids can just put their cell phones in there. One of the things that we did add though to our cell phone policy, you'll see on the second page, we did write that individual medical exemptions could be made for certain children. We have some children who are diabetics, whose phones need to be closer than maybe, you know, they might not be sitting in proximity of the caddy, so they might have their phone on their desk, or if it is there, they would sit closer to the teacher. Dress and grooming, this is a new section, so we don't have a dress code per se, but when the Homeland Security person came through the schools, one of the things that he had mentioned to our SRO and to Mrs. Carrier was that the hoods that students were wearing was potentially dangerous. We do have cameras everywhere, but it is harder to identify students. When we brought this to our team leads and our school council, one of the things that came up were that teachers were saying, for them, it wasn't so much of they didn't feel that it was a safety hazard, but more of a participation thing, that kids put their hoods on, they don't participate, that they think you can't see them, like babies with hide and go seek. And so having the hoods off makes them, you know, more apt to participate. So hoods off when they're in the building. Obviously, when they're outside, they can put them on because it's cold out. But when they're inside, we will ask them to have their hoods off. Lockers and padlocks, we used to always have locks on our lockers. We have a pretty trustworthy community. We really don't have kids stealing out of lockers. So we're taking off the padlocks part. We haven't given padlocks out for several years. So we're just eliminating that from the handbook. And then we're tidying up some of the meals language because we now have free meals in Massachusetts. So just to make sure that that language matches what the state has. There is still a PIN system. Students do still punch in a number because the state does keep track of free and reduced based on, and it defers the cost. So they do still use that PIN system, but parents don't load money onto an account or anything like that. And then bus behavior, we did add at our school council, one of the parents asked that we add to the section where it says no food, that individual medical exemptions could be discussed at an IEP or 5 to 4 for students who have who are diabetic or who have certain things that might make them need to eat on the bus. So we did add that there. And then as Mr. Pescatelli said, the image alteration, obviously this is kind of the age when kids are starting to get more savvy with that kind of stuff. So we really thought we would make that clear in here. And then all the school discipline is all the same from school to school. Adding particular things about Massachusetts general law, adding very clearly what are minor and major infractions, adding honesty and cooperation to the handbooks. Let's see. The explanation of consequences, we also thought we've already had some of that in our handbook, if you look at the old one. But it was kind of a bulleted list and it wasn't as specific as these are. These are more specific. It really spells out what the consequences are, what parents can expect, what students can expect. And we've added a couple of things like social suspensions, things where, you know, if they can't go to the school dance. We have certain times when we have 6th graders going to the school dance at the end of this year. If something should happen, they would have a social suspension. They might not be, you know, suspended from school, but they're not going to the dance. So that kind of a thing. So we decided to put all of that in there. And then if you continue on, just tidying up to 3 strikes plan, some of the numbers were put in incorrectly. And then one of the big things that we added were the different suspension laws for 37H, 37H1/2, 37H and 3/4, because it's very confusing to parents, and so that they can see and students can see what you have to do to be suspended internally, externally, what has to happen first before some of these things happen. So those we thought were important to put right in there. And then as well as we have a chart, which we thought was a very readable chart for parents on the things that we do first, restorative interventions, reflective interventions, and educational and informational interventions, because we do all of those things as first steps. And finally, we added a section on hate speech that we thought was important to make clear in our handbooks as well. And then the only other thing I would like to do, and I think this is something that would have to go more through the tech department, is because everything is online, I would love to have in the table of contents clickable links. I don't know, right? I feel like that would be very helpful. So sorry to give you guys something to do. And also the font is horrible, so I feel like an updated font that is not from, you know, the 1990s would be wonderful. And those are just my little nitpicky things, but it's different when you're reading something, what's readable and what's not. So we can work on that.
They want Aptos.
Well, no, I just.
I don't know what it is, but apparently.
Well, I will tell you what, if you look through the old handbook and you look at the new things that I put, you can see that Times New Roman, which is great. I'm not saying Times is, you know, not good, but
In the 90s, old.
in the night, it's what we would use with our word processors, right? We want to move past word processors. Sorry, guys.
So I do want to give kudos to Mr. Pescatelli, and I think there's a couple things you may need to add in your change.
Sure.
You may want to add Kayla Brady
Yep,
as, because it's in there as assistant principal with the TBD.
TBD.
Well, it's now determined.
it is.
And we needed, I didn't see it, but he did grab it on his, that we want to remove Mr. Judd and add Mr. Fox.
Yes. We didn't put that on there. We will do that.
So.
Yep.
That was the only 2 points I had.
Okay.
And I like the word is to
Yes, because it is horseplay. It's, you know, as much as we try to say, keep your body on your own body, we never say, keep your hands to yourself, because then they will kick and shove and use elbows. So we say, keep your body on your own body. But they still horseplay. It's the age, and there's a big difference between horseplay and real fighting. And so we don't want a kid to have consequences that really don't fit the crime. So we keep it in there.
I love the idea of social suspension too.
Yep.
Question?
Yep.
I saw this chart, the teacher enforced infractions and the office.
So that's
I saw that on.
Old one. So that is, we originally had that,
Okay.
and then it was suggested to us, I believe, through legal counsel to put it not in a teacher versus administration,
Okay,
but minor and serious.
got it.
Because although a lot of things are handled by teachers, there might be times where it's maybe too many times, or it's a little bigger. And so we really did it minor and more serious. So I liked the chart, but they had us do it in a more a list form that was spelled out differently. Yeah, so that one is,
Super.
okay. Thank
Anybody
you.
else? Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Okay.
Enjoy your summer.
You too.
All right. Who's coming? Mr. Rude. No flower tonight?
I didn't even have flowers there.
I know. I just wondered whether that was safe for tonight.
No flowers tonight. How we doing? So I can be quick. They pretty much said it all, but page 2, Ms. Brady will fill it in for assistant principal there. Yeah. On the first page, everything is pretty much status quo. You'll see at the bottom, the students assistance team, are moving it from the discipline section up to academics, because in terms of intervention, we do have academics, discipline, and behavioral. So we just moved it up to that section. If you look at the second page, along with what Mike and Emma said, our list for the high school, we used to have 4 different sections. We would have teacher, and then we'd have office detention, and then we'd have Saturday school and internal, and then we'd have short-term and long-term suspension. But based on like what we're all doing, we switched it to minor infractions and then major infractions. So that's the case with us as well at the high school. If you look at our major infractions, some of the things that we added were under bullying. We've seen a lot with cyberbullying, so we added cyberbullying to the actual title, and then within the description, we added social media. We also offered a description for harassment, like before it just said see harassment policy, but we offered a description for harassment. And then we offered on 33, we offered a civil rights violation and a description that goes with that. Mike already talked about the hate speech and image alterations are there. And then, and with what you were saying before, we also offered social suspension as a way for alternatives to suspension. So on that page. If you flip it on the backside, we also didn't have a definition for expulsion, so we put that in there just so people would understand the difference between expulsion and suspension, when you can expel someone and you can't. Cell phones. So this was probably our biggest change is at the high school level, we're making a move. If we're not going to do yonder, we're making a move to a situation where the kids will bring their cell phones into class. They'll put them in a caddy. They'll stay in the caddy throughout the whole educational process. If the students leave temporarily, like to go to the bathroom, to go to nurse, to go to the office, the cell phones will stay in the caddy. The students will be able to use them before the morning bells, during lunch, and during passing time, and at the end of the day. We're hoping that this situation will limit the amount of cell phone use during the academic process, but still allow the kids the freedom to use their cell phones throughout the day and at lunch to coordinate rides and things like that that they currently, from talking to students, these are the things that they hear. So we figured if we're not going to do yonder, this would be a step towards seeing if this will be something that meets in the middle and works for us, right? So beyond that, we've had some issues with third-party food delivery at lunch. It puts a lot of stress on the office. Yes, I mean. They are, yeah. So we had to put language in there for that. Yep. I mean, if you want to stop.
They coordinated that for like first or third month, where they were actually got them there on time. Magnolia, have you done this?
No. I do it, it's like for sports like after.
Oh.
I don't do it like during the school.
Well, it wasn't illegal until next year. Right? No, I don't think that's certain time. It's a 20-minute, 30-minute time.
You'll be amazed at what they can do when they launch. And in terms of what we were talking about before with the Homeland Security, Tommy, you gave recommendations. Two of the recommendations. One was the hoodies. We're in line with that, and the other one had to do with backpacks. Backpacks at assemblies, backpacks in the gym when we do a pep rally, and backpacks in the cab. So we have a practice already kind of in place where the backpacks aren't going into assemblies, but in the CAF we're like 50-50, so we're gonna try to limit the backpacks in the CAF. We think one of the ways we could do that is either one, putting them near the back where the teachers are, or two, a lot of times the kids also have their lockers, and some students will be able to go put them in their next class if that teacher doesn't have a class at that moment. Like if they have their prep or lunch when the student has their lunch. So we'll see how that
Nobody's
goes.
using their lockers. It's a high school.
No one is currently using lockers. There's a lot of free lockers.
Yeah, I mean, so how do you, if they've got their backpack and they're going from third period or whatever, and their lunch is in between.
Yep.
They're gonna take it to the cafeteria, right?
Why wouldn't they just stop at their locker?
Well, that'd be great. I mean, why
Yeah.
don't they just leave it there at the beginning of
Right.
the day too? If they don't do that.
So why do they currently not use their lockers, and how are you going to enforce that they do?
I'm no longer 17, so I'm not the real person. It's that I think Magnolia might have a better answer for why students don't use their lockers, but my guess would be twofold. One is they feel locker is a waste of time, and they just take all their stuff with them. And the second one is they have everything they need in their locker, and from having two kids and seeing it in action, they put everything they can in that bag, and that bag just goes with them.
Well, they also don't have the number of
Yeah.
technically.
It is.
That's true.
Right, right.
That's true.
Think about it. Our lockers
You need it.
used to have plug full of textbooks, and you had to go back every class to get the one you needed for the next class. Now everything is online.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Oh, it's heavy, yeah. It's heavy.
It's big,
I
it's
just saw
heavy. I
that.
saw that it wouldn't fit in the lockers. Is that from, like, how wide are the lockers?
That's actually, I mean, our lockers are big. The middle school lockers aren't. I don't know. I'll have to try it out tomorrow. We'll see.
So we'll do a test run tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll just have-
Okay, we'll do a test run tomorrow. We'll report back. All right, and then the intervention section is the same as what Emma was saying. So we have that there in terms of 37 H and 3/4 and providing kids with a way to re-engage them in the educational process prior to suspension. And then for us, under guidance final exams, this is just fixing something that already exists. The final exams are 10%, not 20, so that's just us fixing that. The CAF is the same language as it is here at Powder Mill. And then last but not least, this is our practice, but we just want the language for the physical exams for the athletes to match the practice that we're already doing. So. yeah. Sure. Any questions?
Only one I've got is the removing Mr. Jubb and adding Mr. Fox.
Got it. Noted.
Other than that, we're good.
Thank you.
Anybody else? You're good? Thank you. All right. Mrs. Carrier, you got an update for us on Swiss?
So a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, I spoke about all of the ongoing work we were doing with social emotional learning. And at the time, Chairman Stevenson, you asked, well, if you had the magic wand, what would I want? And I said, I would want the Swiss app suite. And so you said, go do some research. Now, I have to say, I did the research and then was shocked to find that I should have done the research a couple years back. I had an assumption that this was going to be a big ask, that I was like gonna come to you and say, all right, we need this, it's expensive. It's not. I'm kicking myself because I got a quote and it's $950 a year. And so this is not something that it is out of the realm at all. This is easy. This is something I can do in the existing budget, very easily do and fit in. And if I had known that, we would have had it years back. So I have already got the quote and we are all set for us to start with it.
Do you
in
need
the
us
fall.
to vote on it or?
I don't, I just need to say, thank you for pushing me and saying, go look. I just was under the assumption that like most of the programs that we use, you were looking at a huge amount of money and it being reoccurring. You know, we look at the other things we use, iReady, et cetera, Dibble's Amplify, all of those have a pretty big price tag and you're looking at something that every single year. But in this case, it really isn't.
It's $900 a year or?
$950 a year. Yeah, $950
Is
a
this
year.
just for middle school or can it be used for all the way up?
So the license we would get would be for our building.
Yeah.
In order to get a district license, we would have to get multiple or a larger license, but it still is pretty, very reasonable. Even if it was all three schools at the $950, it's still very, very
So
reasonable.
is this something, since I've got our other two principals here,
I definitely think it makes a lot of sense for
you try it
the
out?
elementary
Elementary.
schools to use. I definitely think that for Mike, it would definitely, and so at the high schools, I'm not sure if it would have as much use. But it definitely can help with going paperless for reporting. So it would allow teachers to input infractions and then to come up for us to see that we need to address, and we would be able to see infractions that teachers address by using this system.
And I'm assuming if it starts earlier on, this information flows up with the child, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, so I mean, if you're gonna start it in the fall, if it goes off really well, really quickly,
Then we can actually purchase it midway and prorate.
start it in October.
Yeah, if it's something that we get and it seems to be working, it can go to all of the buildings and they'll prorate the price based on, because it's a September 1 subscription date. So even, I'm gonna have it actually start July 1 after the new budget. And so we'll have a little time in the summer to kind of get used to using it and see what it looks like, kind of add some fake kids with some fake discipline, and be able to ready to present it to the teachers. And then if it seems to be working, it's definitely something we can expand. Yeah, there's some pieces that it does that I didn't even realize that it does now, that are amazing. Like, for example, classroom behavior plans. It allows teachers to do the data right there. So right now, if a student is on a discipline plan, that information is then sent usually to the behaviorist, who then is keeping track of it and making charts because it's all of their periods combined, et cetera, all in one place. So she's pulling it in, she's making the charts, and it's laborious if you have a couple of kids.
Wouldn't that be helpful at the high school level?
I think it will, but I don't want to speak for them. I think it's us using it first to see how it is, and see how it would work for them.
Well, if this is a tool that's reasonable, that will help you, all of you, as teachers, to be able to do your job more effectively, then I don't think you're gonna get any resistance from us, and if you need to come back to us for a vote, if Mr. Criminal says we need to approve some sort of financial option there, then you let us know and we can put it on the agenda.
But again, I almost feel like a little chagrined that I just assumed it was expensive, and then you were like, no, go look, check it out, and I was like, okay, I get to spend money.
You go.
Apparently I didn't need to spend money.
Well, when you have it up and running and you know a little bit more about what it can do, I'd love to see.
Yeah, I can do a presentation, of all,
Yeah,
like,
I'd
you know,
love
when
to
I,
see
November,
showing
showing
them
what's happening, yeah, for sure.
Can it be worked in the cafeteria? Does that work at all?
Alright.
Strangle up.
Oh, yeah, can we do it, well, we will.
It works hand in hand with PBIS because you can really look at the trends and patterns over the course of the day. You can look at times, certain times of the day, or there were office referrals, when is this happening, when is this behavior happening? So you can really like, instead of like, oh, we're seeing trouble after, we didn't realize it was an uptick. And so the PBIS, you can prioritize that time of day and really, you know, talk about the kids who are doing the right thing at the right time. It's a really good tool to help track your incidents in the time that they're occurring.
Yeah, so like right now, for example, Mrs. Rude will put in the teacher's room a skill that we want kids to be working on so that the teachers see, and the teachers know if that skill is up, then you give out more tickets for that. So that means we're pushing it, right? So we start to really reward that skill. So it might be sliding down the slide on your bottom. Sounds simple, sounds easy, but it's not, it's not. There's a whole lot of different ways to slide, including running up the slide and ramming into the kid ahead of you. That's a fun one. So we might put up, okay, what you need to be working on right now is kids are sliding down the slide. But the Swiss will give us the hints on what those things are also. Not just what we are perceiving. It'll give us real data on, all right, these are the behaviors that we're seeing a lot of. And so then we'll be able to say, okay, then we want to target with our PBIS the opposite.
That's awesome.
We'll see, hopefully.
I can't.
So we're gonna be using this in the fall.
We are. We will be using it in the fall.
See, look at that. You ask and you get.
And you get.
It's great.
Any questions?
No,
Thank you very
thank you
much.
for doing that. All right, so superintendent, we're up to reports. You got a update on chronic absenteeism?
I do. The state, this was a big initiative of the previous commissioner, Jeff Riley, who was going to add it for extra points to the accountability system. It did get voted down by the Board of Education. However, they're really working with communities because chronic absenteeism really affects student learning, and the rise in chronic absenteeism post-COVID has risen by over 12%. So our target for this year for chronic absenteeism was 19.8%. Last year, we blew our target away because last year we were at 12.9% as a district. This year, we even surpassed that with 11.1% for chronic absenteeism, which brings us to, I believe, lower than where we were prior to COVID. That doesn't happen by chance. I sent this data out to our building principals to really share with the teachers, because it really comes from that. If kids don't want to come to school, they're not going to come to school. But if the teachers make learning fun, engaging, if students feel safe in their classroom environment, kids will want to come to school because they will not want to miss out on what is happening. So I wanted to make sure that we applaud our administrators and our classroom teachers and our parents for making our schools a place where students want to go and they don't want to miss out on it, because we were one of the highest in the state. So in fact, Powder Mill was in the top like 125 schools in the state of Massachusetts. What was your chronic absenteeism?
7.2.
7.2% for chronic absenteeism. It's unheard of.
We were in the 7th percentile
7th percentile in the state, in schools.
for school, not district school.
Yeah, schools.
So Jen, the target that you mentioned, is that a target that's set by us or by the state?
The state.
So, I remember, I think it was this past year, but it could be longer than that, a letter was sent out to all families.
Yeah.
And I believe the letter actually came from the state because multiple districts and superintendents sent it out about chronic absenteeism. And I remember like a lot of parents were a little bit taken off guard. They didn't understand that it was coming from the state. They're like, why am I getting this letter? It might be nice to send a follow-up letter, you know, simply saying what you're saying, identifying that the target was set by the state and that we've been well below it for the past 2 years. Thanking, in addition to the teachers and staff, but thanking the parents.
Absolutely.
For,
School.
you know, for making it an effort to get their kids to school, because that has been a battle that many parents have been fighting since COVID. And I think that a follow-up letter to that initial letter that took people a little bit off guard would be nice.
Jen, I'm gonna beat this dead horse again. Press release.
I know, I've been having all of my administrative meetings with evaluation meetings, and I'm all about PR. I know,
I mean, with, just looking for stories, this would be a great story.
great story,
Great story.
great story.
It's a great idea. All right, you good?
Yes, I just need to celebrate that it takes all of us to get the kids here.
Mr. Trammell, got anything for us tonight?
As I said earlier, the preliminary audit, for FY 24 will be June 26th and 27th with, Markham. Markham's our new accounting firm. They bought out Howard and Sullivan. Salary agreements will be going out to all, teachers, paraprofessionals, employees of the district tomorrow. Superintendent Willard and Principal Carey and myself participated in the SRO interviews last Tuesday, with a couple members of the police department, two very good candidates. A transportation letter and form will be, posted on the district website, and I've asked the principals to send it out in their final communication with families, asking families who have not filled out this form in the past or have an address change to complete the transportation form. So for the start of the 24-25 school year, bus routes can be solidified. And lastly, I just want to thank Mr. Wykander and his grounds and custodians for a job really well done last week with getting everything ready outside with graduation and like big award ceremony as well. Those guys worked really, really hard in a short amount of time to get everything ready for the families. And Saturday wasn't fantastic. And they're sitting in the shade, ready to go when it ends to take everything down, but they worked really hard to set it up. So kudos to them for a ceremony well done.
Right. Policies, we don't have any policies to talk about tonight, but just to give everybody an update. We are diligently still working through, we're in halfway or quarter way through I. We did find out that we are got all the way up to J or H sort of completed. We're gonna get those in G into the superintendent, and the assistant superintendent for them to look at, so they can create the procedures that are gonna go along with those policies. Once those procedures are done, we will start bringing those back to school committee for approval. So we are on the back half of this now, so we're gonna start getting these updated, and once they are updated, it'll be a different setup where it will be housed basically offsite on the state level, and we'll be able to access those easily on the website to get to these policies. So it's coming. It's a long haul, but we're working our way through it. Action item, Superintendent Willard, you're up.
Move to approve consent agenda items listed above, recommended.
So,
Second.
Can I get a show of hands to accept the motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0-0.
Move to accept the donation of $2,300 for an ice cream truck sponsored by the Bachelor family for the Woodland School end of year celebration on June 13th, 2024, recommended.
so moved.
Second.
That's awesome. Can I get any questions on this? No, is school committee members allowed to come for the ice cream?
Sure can.
We vote for it, then good. Can I get a show of hands to accept the motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0-0.
Move to approve opening 6 kindergarten seats and 1 grade 1 seat for the 2024-2025 school year for school choice, recommended.
So moved.
Second.
This was just an adjustment from what we saw a little while
Well,
ago.
we put none before.
Yeah.
We just wanted to wait to see where we were
How do
before.
we pick the number?
We looked at the enrollment and then we looked at how many kids had, applied. And, if we could accommodate them, we tried to.
Nice thing is that we were able to accommodate it,
Oh,
so that's awesome. Any other questions? Can I get a show of hands to accept the motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0.
Move to approve the 24-25 handbook changes for Woodland School recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on this? Show of hands to approve the motion. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0.
Move to approve the 24-25 handbook changes for Powder Mill School recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Show of hands to approve the motion. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0.
Move to approve the 24-25 handbook changes for Southwood Regional School recommended.
So moved.
Questions on this? Show of hands to approve the motion. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0.
Move to approve the following wage increases for non-contract employees for FY 25. Speech and language assistant Amy Baroso, 2.75%. Treasurer Shannon Bennett, 3%. Internal suspension monitor building substitute Sean Copieri, 60% of the B1 rate. And SRS hall monitor building substitute Alex Shanker, 60% of the B1 rate recommended.
So moved.
Any questions on this? Can I get a show of hands to accept the motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0.
Okay, Chairman, do you want to stand up while I do these?
We can't. Yep,
You want to get in front?
I can. I'm trying to organize them. I don't think I signed them in the right order, but go ahead.
Okay. Be it resolved that the Southwick Talon Granville Regional School Committee hereby extends its congratulations to Lenora Anderson. In recognition of 36, no, she can come.
Oh, come on up.
In recognition of 36 years of educator excellence, we hereby convey our sincere appreciation for your valuable efforts, dedicated service, and assistance rendered, which has enhanced the image of the Southwick Talon Granville Regional Schools, and a record of these resolutions shall be permanently entered into the minutes of the school district. Recommended.
Can I get a motion on it?
So moved.
There we go.
Second.
Can I, anybody got any questions? All in favor? Record, the motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much for all your work.
Thank
you so much. Enjoy your retirement.
Thank you.
Gonna work CFA.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
We have retirement plans now, right?
I have time to think about it.
Be it resolved that the Southwick Valley Granville Regional School Committee hereby extends its congratulations to Pamela Andrews.
She's gonna.
In recognition of 3 years of paraprofessional excellence, we hereby convey our sincere appreciation for your valuable efforts, dedicated service, and assistance rendered, which has enhanced the image of the Southwick Talon Granville Regional Schools, and a record of these resolutions shall be permanently entered into the minutes of this school district. Recommended.
So
Any questions? Show of hands to accept the motion. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Southwick Talon Granville Regional School Committee hereby extends its congratulations to Melanie Canary. In recognition of 7 years of district excellence, we hereby convey our sincere appreciation for your valuable efforts, dedicated service, and assistance rendered, which has enhanced the image of the Southwick Talon Granville schools. And a record of these resolutions shall be permanently entered into the minutes of this school district. Recommended.
so moved.
Questions? Show of hands. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0.
Marcia.
She's here.
Be it resolved that the Southwick Talon Granville Regional School Committee hereby extends congratulations to Marcia Lamoureux in recognition of 14 years of nursing excellence. We hereby convey our sincere appreciation for your valuable efforts, dedicated service, and assistance rendered, which has enhanced the image of the Southwick Talon Granville Regional Schools, and a record of these resolutions shall be permanently entered into the minutes of this school district. Recommended. So, hi.
Let the record show the motion passes 6-0. Thank you so much for your
Open partner.
enjoy your retirement.
Be it resolved that be it resolved that the Southwick Talent Randall Regional School Committee hereby extends its congratulations to Ann Pulo in recognition of 24 years of paraprofessional excellence. We hereby convey our sincere appreciation for your valuable efforts and dedicated service and assistance rendered, which has enhanced the image of the Southwick Talent Randall Regional Schools. And a record of these resolutions shall be permanently entered into the minutes of this school district. Recommended.
So moved.
Can I get a show of hands to approve the motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Southwick Talent Randall Regional School Committee hereby extends its congratulations to Ann Simonek in recognition of 10 years of educator excellence. We hereby convey our sincere appreciation for your valuable efforts, dedicated service, and assistance rendered, which has enhanced the image of the Southwick Talent Randall Regional Schools, and a record of these resolutions shall be permanently entered into the minutes of this school district. Recommended.
So moved.
I tried to deny this. Because I didn't want, and I was told that there was some sort of extra security here to make sure that she didn't change her mind at the last minute. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So is there anything that we could like sweeten the pot to have you stay or have a leave the room?
It's already tried.
Oh.
Everything's still tried this week. I'll thank you.
I thank you so much for all your work.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh, we didn't vote on it. See, and if it doesn't get voted on, it's not going to happen. So I'm sorry that you have to skip that. Can I get a show of hands to accept the motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0. All right. Get back to my regular spot. All right. Almost at the end. Subcommittees. Negotiation, we got an update on that already. Finance, we are taking a couple weeks off, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, we're in the closing out of FY24.
All the budgets passed,
Yep.
so we're good.
Yep.
It was unanimous on, from all three towns that they passed the budget. Erica's not here. I haven't got anything for corporation policy. We gave you guys an update, buildings and grounds. We got a proposal from, gosh, I'm drawing a block, mind blank on that.
Mr. Model sent
Mr. Model.
renderings of 3 proposals, and so the next phase is he's gonna come back with the cost of what the phase will be.
Sounds good, and then we'll be able to look at this and hopefully put forth proposals next year so that the ultimate goal is to potentially get these in the hands of the towns by next year to look at the options to look at our grounds enhancements. ILT. Okay,
I don't think we have it since the last one.
wellness. SPED. Technology. Okay, advisory committee liaison, we have to figure that out. And I've got something that Aaron put together for me that I'm gonna be looking at so that we can address it. And we'll bring this to our retreat to talk about
Okay,
for the
great.
advisory committee to figure out how we can get that set up.
Okay.
What we're looking to do, just to let everybody know, is we're gonna be looking to put something online on the website. So that if there are people that want to throw their hat in the ring, sort of be part of this advisory committee, that way we'll open that up to students, committee members, anybody that in the community that wants to, we'll decide as a group how many we want, and then if we've got a bunch of people to pick from, that's a good problem for us to have.
And we should have a way to communicate to the communities that may have people that are interested, but don't have to go to schools.
Yeah.
Don't look on the website, you know, like.
Well, I think what we decided to do, right, Superintendent Lloyd, we're gonna send these out to all three towns at the town hall so that they
Right.
can post that on their
Yeah.
websites as well. And we'll have it on our website, so that way we'll get this out to as many people as we can. Capital committee, Mr. Fox, we got anything, we're shut down for the year?
Shut down for the year.
All right, good. Athletics, we just had our last meeting a couple weeks ago. We're reviewing end of year stuff. I do know that we've got some posting for open coaching positions that are up and active, so if there's anybody out there that's looking to help us out at the high school level. Where are those posted? Ms. Short, where are they posted on a spread? It's a special website, right?
School spring. It's
School-
not-
okay. It is School Spring? Okay.
Right.
And then legislative liaison, I do know that they do have a summer, I just got, everybody probably got that thing in the mail. There's a summer thing in July 12th, July 13th. If anybody's interested in going to that, let us know. Actually, there's like at least Natick, Newton, somewhere in that area, they have it in the summer. Public comment. I think we've got Asher, I know I saw his name lined up. Asher, why don't you come on up?
Good evening, everyone. I'm gonna try to keep this one to 3 minutes. I know I went over a little bit the last time. Okay. Often we ask ourselves two simple questions: how and why? How can we do better? Why did this happen, and why does this keep happening? In my quest to search for these very answers, I have learned what it means to rock the boat and the consequences that ripple away from it. Since speaking out, I learned that you don't truly know people until you scratch them the wrong way. Sometimes, or some that I've even called friends, have since distanced themselves, including some teachers and some staff. What I want to ask is why? Why treat someone differently because they're not afraid to speak up about something? In my opinion, these voices are the start of something new. Like a domino reaction, all it takes is for one voice to speak up, which provides an opportunity for others to do so too. Together this right here is how real, meaningful change happens. Not change driven by fear or benefit, but change driven by the passion and the desire for justice and integrity. This change will happen. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. The question remains, however, whether or not students will have the support to do so. So when? When will students have the opportunity to bring real change to the table? When will we be heard? And when will we be supported by you to do so? Some might argue that this is already present in the anti-bullying task force team or the so-called dream team. I would counter by stating that some of the people in these groups are the reasons why we are here today, still talking about the track record of the school. Just as a Band-Aid won't stop a gaping wound, we must change the lens that we currently use. This means understanding that a dream team, or any team put together, isn't necessarily the real solution. That is a Band-Aid. So how will we do this? Why will we do this? And when will we do this? These answers are clear to me. We start by changing the culture that has been able to thrive, or that has enabled this to thrive and develop at the school. Upon doing this, and only after changing this, will we truly be able to have meaningful change. We do this because we must. We must dedicate ourselves to the next generation. The last time I told you a little bit about me, and let me share with you one more thing. While I may only be here at this district for 2 more years, many more students will walk the halls after me. My goal is to make sure that even when I'm gone, the next generation is still able to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Christina, do you guys want to say something? Introduce yourself? Come on
I
up.
changed my mind.
No, that's fine. Come on up.
She changed the night for.
I think that's great. I think it's a better opportunity for you guys to introduce yourself.
You
So
need me to say my name and
You
address?
can,
and
yeah.
all of that?
that would be great.
Okay, my name is Christina Proietti, 248 Hillside Road here in Southwick. I have 2 children in Southwick Regional School, a junior and a 7th grader. Reason we are here tonight is, as Rob knows, myself and some other parents have been talking about and wanting and desiring a booster club back at the high school. And my motto has always been, if you're going to complain about something, get in gear and do something about it. So we have finally organized that. We've been working together as a group since late winter, starting fundraisers. And last night we elected our officers, and I'm going to introduce them to you. We noticed that all the principals were here, so we wanted them to put a face to who we were. If they don't know us already, but so I am Christina Proietti, and I have been elected the communications coordinator of the restarted Southwick Regional School Booster Club. And I'll let them speak in a minute, but we have Crystal Mackin, who's been elected our president. and Megan Lightcap, who's been elected our vice president, and Nooney, who is our. Oh, you're the treasurer. That's right. You were the financial person. Megan Lightcap is our treasurer. That was a difficult position to secure.
Yeah.
And and Dom Nooney is our vice president, and Sarah and volunteer coordinator, and Sarah Pizarka, who's not with us, who was our huge motivator and our inspiration. She is our secretary. So if anybody wants to.
Yeah, just state your name and where you live, and then you.
I'm Crystal Mackin, 155 Berkshire Ave here in Southway. I have a son in 7th grade who was with me at Star for sure. And I have a son in 4th grade who will be eventually making his way up. We're into the sports. We're here, we're in varsity and JV, and we certainly noticed that we need a little more support. So I thought just quickly we would read our mission statement and just introduce them. You guys will know our face from now on. So we are here to support like our athletes and our coaches and the parents. We want to help supplement existing budgets, provide equipment, attire, and just overall help with the club budgets by doing fundraising. We want to help with communication between coaches and parents and the students. We definitely notice we have a hard time. Our children will know what they're doing, but we're their role. We don't know what they're doing. They're not going anywhere. And we also want to help with, promoting the marketing and getting our district out there with our brand logo and our merchandise and just overall. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm just gonna send this. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to.
Super.
My name is Emily Canuti. I am at 42 Lakeview Street. I have two beautiful daughters that this school district has helped me raise, along with the community. Sarah drove me into this, and so I'm along for the ride. We usually go for it, but in our initial conversations with our new athletic director, we're so positive and so engaging that you could not help. His vision for this overall athlete community member is what we're hoping to drive behind and support. So yeah, that's what we're here. Thanks, guys.
Super. Thank you.
I don't have much to add. I have two daughters. One's gonna be junior next year and another one heading up the hill to 7th grade, heavily involved in sports. And yeah, we just wanna get them all the stuff that they need. We wanna do clinics. We wanna have, pitching clinics, things like that. My husband stepped up to coach JV softball this year, even though my daughter made varsity. So he was, we were split between fields. I had another one in Westfield Little League softball. So it'll be nice to have everybody in one place. And yeah, we just wanna see these kids get everything they need. And we know the school budgets are tight. And so we're like, okay, let's do something. And a lot of the coaches have spoken with me. My daughter's been playing high school sports for a couple of years now and have said, we want to do fundraisers. We want to get the kids together. It's team spirit. It gets them, they want to work with the youth league and all that. So we figured this is a great way to kind of get everybody together and involved and get more kids to come play too. Thank you.
Super. Thank you very much. All right. We are on to old business. Anybody got anything for old business? New business. Do we got anything for new business? I do, but I don't see anybody else. All right, so just to give everybody a heads up, I know this has been a challenging year. And we've had a lot of stuff going on, but from my personal opinion, I think this district, although, as Asher said, look, we've run into challenges, but how, when, and when are we going to do this? I think we've got a plan that we're looking at. We're going to address a lot of these issues. We could not have gotten through this without the support and steadfast standing of the superintendent in this district. It doesn't mean that we do everything perfect. It doesn't mean that we don't have room for improvement. But her leadership ability and her ability to help us get through this has been an enormous strength and accomplishment in this year. And it's one thing for me to see it, it's one thing for the rest of the committee members to see it, but to have the state association acknowledge your efforts and your accomplishments this year, I think is a true testing of her ability to lead this district. So, last week, Superintendent Willard,
About a week, yeah.
last week, she was honored as the recipient, the President's Award for Courageous Leadership in the Superintendency here in the state of Massachusetts. So I wanted to make sure that we acknowledge that tonight and congratulated her on her efforts and her accomplishments. And you've already received this award, but I've got it right here. But if you want to come over and get it again, no, okay. But no, thank you so much, Superintendent Willard. We're very happy that you're here. And we really value your leadership, and I look forward to continuing to work for you and work with you in the future. Thank you very much. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. And all in favor of that motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 6-0. Good night, everybody. Just as a reminder, this will be our last meeting of the year, so everybody have a fantastic summer. And we'll see you all in the fall.